Hello and welcome to Rauta. This time we have something else for review. This is Melvins, a band with a funny haircut. You know what I'm talking about once you figured out who I'm talking about. This band has been here for more than 40 years. It's quite a lot, and now it's a new album, album number 29 if I counted correctly, called Tarantula Heart. Before we go into the unboxing sector, let's take a look at Melvin's Bandcamp site. So, there are plenty of albums. And of course the band has been out for a lot of years, doing various styles and inspiring a lot of bands. Some say they are forefathers of grunge. Some say they're kind of a sludge or whatever. Some call it more metallic rock. Some just call it rock. Be whatever it is, they have gone through a lot of years and a lot of experience and all. And here we are, album with 29. And we were talking about the funny haircut. This is, of course, the sir I'm talking about. They're two guys that have been operating together since 1984, which is very, very impressive feat. And, of course, there are more guys in the band, especially live, but goes beyond the scope of this video. We're here to talk about Tarantula Heart, a Ipecac release by, how you pronounce it, Ipecac release. So let's take a look at this one and see what it's made of. Kind of a peculiar cover and doesn't really, give the metallic feelings, which is of course very true because this is not. This could really be something like, I don't know, indie pop, indie rock, which I guess is very true for Melvins in so many ways. But of course when you're thinking about indie rock and all, you probably think less noisier bands than this one. Now, because of Melvins has a lot under their belt, I mean they have gone through a lot of years, a lot of miles and all. Of course, the band has changed from rather punky style to, well, various styles. And now when I'm thinking about Tarantula Heart, I'm thinking like, okay, this is not making big waves unless you are the fan of the given style. Some of the parts are like, yes, they're aiming for a rather heavy take, and you can really feel the certain kind of a grunge meets sludge takes. Then there are also a lot of experimental rock riffs, which are going to put a lot of people off. Unless you, of course, like the given style, what I'm talking about here. And then you have this cartoonish booklet, which is fun to take a look at. But as you can already figure it out, this is not one of those fun reading experiences. I mean, there are words, of course, but like I said, this is not your typical booklet in so many ways. So it's kind of a fitting for the band in terms of doing their own style. Doing the kind of a music which is probably service to Melvins fan who have been looking for a new album and now. But if you also take a look at the, for example, rate your music site and take a look at how the ratings are for previous albums, it's pretty evident that the 90s, especially the earlier, but 90s in general, has been most welcomed by the fans of the band. They're the most likable albums, and ever since, and even before that, well, it wasn't that much of a like band. Don't get me wrong, this has a cult following, and of course a lot of people will just like this just because it's a new Melvins album. But if you're looking for something out of ordinary, if you're looking for something really creative, new meaningful things and all that stuff, you might be disappointed. But like I said, it all comes down, all boils down to the very, very matter of taste, really. I mean, while this sounds rocking and it's kind of a heavy and all that stuff, I also find a lot of these songs kind of like basic. That is to say, it's kind of a bulky, even if it's experimental in so many ways. It's not the fastest, it's not the heaviest, and it's not even too experimental, too weird. So it's kind of like in the middle of the road. You're like, okay, it's weirder or more Melvins-like than your typical album when it comes to rock music. I mean, this ain't no middle of the road kind of a big ass band. But then again, if you're looking for some weirder takes or noisy rock ones, you might be feeling like, okay, it's not really doing that either. So kind of a safe bet, but I don't know if this is actually making so much new fans. Maybe it's not even intended to do that. Maybe it's just more like reminding you, hey, Melvins are back. Maybe it's Melvins doing Metallica doing, like the basic tracks, keeping the fans happy and alive, and as such giving them a justification to do tours and gigs and whatnot. Not so much like, okay, we're going to take a look at the new chapter and all. Now, Feel free to disagree and feel free to challenge my opinion. Of course, you get to hear the music. It's probably on all the major streaming services and it's here on the band's Bandcamp site. So do yourself a favor if you're into this kind of music or this band and give it a go. And if not, move on. There will be more reviews, more albums to talk about. Rauta out. Bye bye.